All right, welcome, welcome. So glad you're joining me here today, whether you're here live or if you are watching the recording. So glad you're here. We're going to dive right in. It's 1 o'clock. We're going to get started. Thanks so much. I'm really excited to share this with you guys today. In my health coaching, we talk about the holidays a lot right now of just trying to figure out how to stick to moving with our health goals and sticking to this healthy lifestyle we're trying to create and not completely being derailed by the holidays. So I felt like maybe this would be helpful for you, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's see if my technology is working. There we go. So the main reason why I wanted to give this today is that we just got through Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago, and I was very aware that for me personally, Thanksgiving was just like a day that I had to figure out. I had to figure out what I was going to bring, that I could get full on. If you're like me, and probably if you're watching this, you eat a whole food plant-based diet. And so we have to plan for those things, right? But really, when it comes to the rest of the holiday season, especially as we go into Christmas in the month of December, it just seems to me like it's not just that one day. It's not just Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. It is the whole entire month. And it's beautiful and wonderful. There's definitely some pitfalls that come with it, right? And, let me know if you're here live. Feel free to use the chat box and share with me if this sounds familiar, or if you would add anything to this. Of what makes the holidays a little tricky is the fact that we are surrounded by these celebratory foods that are not necessarily whole food or plant-based. So it makes it a little tricky. And then, of course, we just have this culture that when we celebrate, that it has to just completely revolve around food, particularly unhealthy food, unfortunately. So it can be a tricky time, and that's why we're going to talk about this today. So in order to kind of turn these things around for you, we're going to first dive into some specific holiday challenges, and then I'm going to go right into these 10 tips that I have prepared for you from my own experience, as well as things that I've learned from my clients, things that people have shared with me that work for them to make sure that the holidays are happy and healthy. And then hopefully you got the worksheet that came in your email. I hope you have that printed off. If you don't, you can send me an email and I can make sure that you have this, because when we're done with our time together today, I would highly encourage you to sit down and create a plan. And we're going to talk a little bit about maybe some prompts that you could use for that toward the end of our time together. Sound good? Alrighty. So if you haven't hung out with me before, welcome. So my name's Danielle. I am a National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and I am a plant-based nutrition educator. I have several certifications in plant-based nutrition, and I have 3 levels of certification in health and wellness coaching, which really gave me the skills and the tools to be able to help people make behavior change, which is what I love to do, because you can take whole food plant-based nutrition and you can turn it into another diet, and that's fine if you want to do that, but the nature of dieting as we know it is temporary, right? We're doing it for a short amount of time to get these results, but I'm really here to help you kind of create a lifestyle change, and I know how to help you do that. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. The purpose of my work as a health coach is really to help people, like this says, feel your best so you can give your all. I love working with women, and because we are such influencers in our families and in our communities, and when we're not feeling our best, it holds us back from fulfilling the full purpose that we have here on this planet, I believe. So so happy you're joining me today. So let's dive into these health challenges for the holidays. And again, if you're joining me live, feel free to use the chat box. I would love to see if you would add anything to this list. So number 1, I think, is the hardest thing about the holidays is the temptation of those sweets that are so traditional and so pervasive through the holiday season. Then, of course, we've got this mindset of celebrating, and I kind of spoke about this a little bit, but this idea that, oh, well, in order to celebrate, it's kind of like this indulgence. It's permission to justify anything and everything, especially when it comes to what we are putting in our mouths. Number three came up especially as I was talking with people about their challenges for the holidays, that there's a big fear of offending people, offending the people that are bringing treats to your door, offending people that you're going to holiday parties with, offending people when they ask you questions about why you eat differently and maybe not knowing how to field that conversation. We are going to get into all of those things today. And then, especially if you are a mother or grandmother, there's a lot of expectations on us to really deliver the holidays, right? There's a lot of that responsibility on us. And it's almost like a scary thing, right? To change the status quo. You know, if the status quo has been a lot of sugary, fattening treats or a certain ham or turkey on Christmas Day or whatever, and we want to change that, we're worried that that's going to be met with resistance because we're changing the traditions, right? So there's a lot of expectations there that we have to navigate and we have to be reconciled with. So yeah, let me know. Again, use the chat box. Is there anything that I'm missing? Is there anything that that is kind of your biggest challenge for the holidays? I would love to see that. You can find the chat box there and just type that in. But I think this covers most of it. So the real question is, how can we overcome these challenges? And I really am excited to share these 10 tips with you today. And again, feel free to interact. Those of you that are watching the recording, I would love to hear feedback from you. Shoot me an email after you're done watching the recording and let me know which of these tips really helped you the most. So we're going to dive right in. Tip number one is to keep craving busters on hand. So what do I mean by that? We really do have this environment, right, of a lot of treats and indulgent things around us that maybe we don't want to be participating in as much if we're really trying to stick to our health goals, right? And if we're trying to stick to this whole food, plant-based way of eating. So whether you're at home all day and you know there's stuff in the house, or if you're at work and there's there's always stuff in the break room, right? I know my husband, he goes to work and comes home and tells me all the donuts and cookies and everything that's there, and it's just always there. So I'm going to give you a few ideas. So in my book, some of the most powerful craving busters, you know, something that you can have instead of the donuts in the break room, are things that are whole food plant-based, but they're a little bit more on the richer side, a little more higher in calories, and maybe really sweet, right? So I love having smoothies on hand. If you need a fantastic smoothie recipe, let me know. I could send you a video of me making my favorite smoothie that you can make and then keep in the fridge for up to 2 to 3 days. So I love having that on hand as a craving buster when I am just feeling munchy or I want a pick-me-up and I don't want to be eating the sweets. I can grab my smoothie out of the fridge. You can take it to work with you as well. Dates, okay? I thought dates were really weird when I first started a plant-based diet, but I got familiar with these medjool dates. I get them at Costco, and if you split them in half and pull the pit out, man, they taste like caramel to me. And this really can be an extremely kind of satiating, satisfying thing for my sweet tooth, which if you're like me, I definitely have one. Maybe you do too. So just having a package of dates in my home, as long as it doesn't create a problem of me like having way too many, but I can usually have 1 or 2 and my sweet tooth is just like very satisfied. Another thing to think about maybe is to have your favorite nuts on hand. We probably shouldn't be having more than 1 to 2 servings, just a little handful of nuts. You can do walnuts, almonds, pistachios, Brazil nuts, cashews, you know, whatever you have on hand. Try to make sure that they don't have added oil. So I usually buy like raw walnuts at Costco, or I'll buy a big bag of almonds at Costco that are totally raw, and I'll just roast them and dry roast them in my oven. These can be good things to have on hand. Sometimes you just want something crunchy. So I try to keep it to about 1 serving a day, but I know that there's a certain time that I feel most snacky, and that's when I reach for a handful of walnuts for me personally. So having those sorts of things on hand can really help. The other thing to keep in mind is maybe maybe we don't even need something calorie dense. Maybe we don't even need something sweet necessarily. Maybe there's a little bit of just a habit that we have of doing something with our mouth, okay? Chewing on something, enjoying something, eating something. So some really effective things you can replace that with. Number one, water. Just keep a water bottle on hand at all times and just be drinking that all day long, okay? Herbal tea has been something that I have really enjoyed over the last year more and more, when I'm recognizing that I'm not necessarily hungry, I'm just like kind of jittery and like bored, you know? And if you just need something to kind of center you and bring your focus to something and something that's not going to undermine your health goals, herbal tea is a fantastic way to go. And then I am very, very much a proponent of just popping some gum in your mouth. If you just need something to distract or something to do instead of grabbing those donuts in the break room or diving into those Christmas cookies that you got for the upcoming holiday. So let me know if that's helpful. I see some of you in the chat box that you love dates. Yeah, these things can really, really help. So I hope that you're taking notes in your worksheet. If you have that handy, jot down the things that are really resonating with you the most as we go through this. Okay, this is a fun one. This is kind of an adventure of being whole food plant-based, is how can we take this tradition of having treats at celebrations and things, but creating healthier options, right? So here I'm sharing with you 3 of my favorite recipe resources. These are 3 websites of amazing recipes that are particularly really good for desserts. My favorite one on this list is thevegan8.com. So these all will give you whole food, plant-based, no oil recipes that you can create some delicious things. I made the Vegan 8's pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, and it was incredible. I was in heaven. I did not feel like I was deprived or being left out. And pumpkin pie, there are so many things that are like reminiscent, right? There's emotional attachments to these traditional foods. So I really encourage you to go over to these websites and choose 1 or 2 new, healthier desserts that you want to try this year. Okay, and that kind of goes right into tip number 3 of just letting yourself start new traditions. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few ideas on this one. One, if you're a mom or grandma, you've got kids, one thing that we love to do at our house is we make vegan gingerbread houses, okay? So I buy graham crackers that are vegan, and I buy all of the decorative treats that I can think of that don't have any dairy in them, okay? Now, am I Whole Foods with this idea? No, I'm not. There's definitely oil in these things. There's definitely refined sugar in these things. But it gives my kids that experience, and it's once a year, and it's better than it used to be, right? It's not all laden with the saturated fat and the cholesterol that was in the butter in the frosting that I used to make. So I want you to like think about making these new traditions. They can happen in stages. They can happen in baby steps. In fact, I told my kids, I said, maybe this year we could make houses or Christmas trees out of fruit. They didn't really love that idea yet. I'm still working on that. But do you see what I mean? We can go in stepwise motion with this. Another new tradition we did, instead of creating plates and plates of goodies to send to our neighbors and deliver to our neighbors, which we love doing and our kids love to do that, we decided to start giving out more practical like items instead of a treat. Because if I don't want people undermining the way that I want to be taking care of my body, I don't necessarily want to be doing that for other people either. But we love giving gifts to our neighbors. So sometimes I'll get a cute poem and get a whisk and say, we whisk you a Merry Christmas. Or even hand out rolls of wrapping paper with a tag for, you know, love the Dinkelmans on it. That sort of thing. Keep it, you know, we can kind of keep the tradition of giving gifts, but how can we get away from the treats and how can we make it a little more practical, a little more useful? Okay, the other things I had with this was just really this idea that notice the traditions and the get-togethers that you have. If they are so focused on food, start noticing the other things that are happening at that get-together that maybe you can emphasize that more and de-emphasize the focus on the food. I think it's really important for us as the women to start detaching these things a little bit for the sake of the next generation. I really think it can help. So focusing on togetherness, focusing on activities and experiences instead of just the food and the sweet and the indulgences there can be a really healthy shift for us to start making in the culture of our family. Okay, warning on this one. You might completely disagree with me on this one, but I would like to give you permission to take that beautiful treat plate that your neighbor just dropped off. And I was just on the phone with a client recently about this. It is okay to accept that gift in that moment, genuinely, lovingly accept that love that they just gave you by handing you that plate. And you know that they put time into those beautiful treats, right? Are they whole food plant-based? Probably not. So after you close that door and you have that interaction with your friend and you go into your kitchen, you have a choice to make. Are these treats gonna be eaten by you? Are they gonna be eaten by your spouse, your children? And you can choose. For me personally, I only keep the really special ones and the rest of them go in the garbage. And I will tell you, I don't feel guilty about it. I received the gift lovingly. That was enough, right? I love, if you've come across Marie Kondo and her system of minimizing her possessions, she talks about things in the way that you can take some, like an old sweater that you used to love but you really don't wear anymore, and you can say thank you to that sweater and then let it go. I like to use that method with this sort of thing. Thank you, and then let it go. It's okay. All right, so again, you might totally disagree with me on that one, but I'm just saying there's no need for us to put this food into our bodies if we truly don't want it, okay? So we get to choose. We shouldn't feel guilty about saying, wow, that was so kind of them to think of that. You know, maybe even if you want to have a taste or something, find a policy for yourself of what you want to do with those treats. Me personally, they usually disappear. All right, this one goes hand in hand, but maybe another option for you on this is maybe you let that plate stay. And maybe everybody, maybe you know, the kids probably heard the doorbell ring or whatever, the husband knows that you got a plate of treats. Maybe you each have one and then let it go, right? Let it go to the trash, because here's the thing. I have a policy in my house that treats don't stay the night, okay? I see myself as the gatekeeper of my home and of my kitchen. And I think it's okay to have a little indulgence once in a while, but when my husband brings home a big thing of cinnamon rolls from his favorite bakery, and we continue to nurse those and eat them day after day until they're gone, I feel like garbage after that happens. So we've created an understanding that we don't bring anything home that is gonna last longer than a day. Okay, I've got 4 little kids, so it's the 6 of us, so maybe we get a half dozen cookies or something for a special occasion. We each have one, we're done, it's over. And maybe there's more than that, and we throw it away. Why would we put trash in our bodies, right? If we can just put it in the garbage, it's no different to me. So again, you might disagree with me on these things, but I'm giving you permission that if you're open to this idea, you can create policies like this, and it will be in your best interest. All right. Okay, so I want to do a little check-in. So of those first 5 tips, we're halfway through. Craving busters on hand, healthy treats instead of your old buttery, fattening, not whole food plant-based treats, creating new traditions that are more focused on experiences, and then how you handle those treat plates that come into your home. I would love to hear from you if you're here live with me, or if you are watching the recording, send me an email. Let me know which one of these is really resonating with you. Okay, and we have someone here sharing. So she says, I really like that idea of treats only lasting the day. The thing is, my husband and college student at home will not agree to things like this. I often wish I lived alone. I get that, I get that. They don't have to know. So yeah, there's definitely going to be different dynamics at home. I still think that we get to have a little bit of a say in it, so we can all just do the best we can with what we've got, right? Okay, so hopefully some of these are starting to help And we're gonna keep on going here. So number 6, come prepared to parties. So if you've been whole food plant-based for a while, this might already be in your wheelhouse. But if you're kind of new to it, I remember when I learned this, this was really helpful for me to understand. So really, I look at parties and get-togethers and activities in 2 ways. I need to find out, first of all, if all of the food is being provided, or if it's more open to kind of a potluck style event, okay? So, you know, I've got church activities to go to. We just had our church party last weekend and it was potluck. And then my family's getting together for Christmas Eve with all of the in-laws and everybody. And that is a little bit different. So we always just kind of want to feel out, like, what is the food situation going to be like? And we want to just come prepared. So if it's an event that it's a beautiful dinner and it's being served to you. I know I've had a church Christmas party like that before, that really everything was a gift to us, right? That they were preparing this beautiful meal. Those types of things, when I can't bring something, I eat before I go. All right, I eat before I go. I eat something that I can get full on, something starchy, some sort of grain, some sort of potato, or something that I can really get full. And then I go and I enjoy time with my friends or my family, whatever the event is. And, you know, if there's a salad, then I have just a big giant salad, and I am participating in the meal, but in a way that I feel good about. So it's totally okay to do something like that. And then if it's a party or an event that you can bring your own food, a couple tips for that. Bring a hearty dish that you can get full on. Okay, so for example, Thanksgiving, everyone was kind of helping bring stuff. And I was in charge of a big salad, so I made sure it was one that my husband and I, of course, would enjoy. And then we brought a hearty dish. We brought a lentil loaf, and that's what we had instead of the turkey that was being served. Was it an extra step? Yes. Was it worth it? Oh my goodness, yes, because we just got to enjoy the event, and we were full and satisfied, and we loved the food that we had. Yeah, so just coming prepared to parties is really powerful. We're going to continue to talk about how to kind of handle these sorts of interactions. Okay, this one, please don't be offended by this. Okay, there's a story behind this. My dad is an extremely conservative man, and I grew up hunting and fishing, and that was how he was raised, and that's how I was raised. And I remember he would always refer to those environmentalist wackos were the words that he would use, which is, I can laugh about it now because I kind of am one now, right? And now that I eat a whole food plant-based diet, I understand the environmental impact that food has, and I look at myself a little bit as an environmentalist wacko, okay? So, but here's the thing. We can have really strong convictions for ourselves, and we don't have to necessarily take our megaphone and our picket signs with us to holiday parties, right? So this is really just kind of a silly way to remind ourselves to be kind and be amicable around these people that are totally on a different mindset than we are, and that's okay. So a couple, like, just kind of etiquette things that I remind myself of when I go to events. I keep my opinions to myself at meal times, okay? If I'm sitting down around people that are eating meat and dairy and all these things, I'm not going to start up a conversation about why that's bad for them, okay? When people offer me food that is not necessarily what I want to be eating, I accept it graciously if I can, or I say no thank you very gently. So the key here is really to realize that we're all at different points in our journey. You know, a really healthy exercise is to remember, where was your headspace at, however long ago it was, before you knew about whole food plant-based nutrition? You know, and did it even occur to you that having turkey was not good for your cardiovascular system? That sort of thing. Of course it didn't. So really letting go of the judgment of others is a fantastic way to ensure that everyone's going to have a really happy holiday. And this last piece that I'm going to share with you right now is something that really shifted for me just in the last year, and I've been plant-based for 3 years now, is to not take it personally when you show up to an event and there's no food for you. No one has made any accommodations to create anything that was dairy-free or vegan or anything for you. To not take that personally is a really healthy choice, because we can't control everything, right? And so when I started to let go of that and not be offended by the fact that nobody's accommodating me, it helped me have a better attitude, and it helped me focus on what the real purpose of these get-togethers is, which is celebrating the holidays and being with friends and family. Okay, so forgive me, that's kind of a silly one, but I think it's an important reminder to not be the wacko. Alrighty. This one goes a long way. This goes right along with bringing your own food to parties, but parties, or, you know, for your family, whatever, find recipes that are just amazing. Okay, there are some really amazing resources out there. I shared a few with you, but when we make our food really irresistible and really delicious and flavorful and beautiful, we can start to see how abundant and wonderful the holidays can feel, still eating whole food plant-based. It's amazing what you can create within those parameters, right? So I remember my first plant-based Thanksgiving. It was actually really overwhelming and stressful because I was trying like 6 new recipes. Okay, maybe that's exaggerating, maybe it was 3. But I was trying all these new recipes right away. And I really wanted it all to be perfect. I wanted to not feel left out or deprived, so I really overextended myself. And to me, in the end, it didn't end up being worth it. Okay, some of the recipes were a total flop. A chocolate pie, the crust got totally soggy. My chocolate pie this year went a lot better. So I guess my tip here is, yes, shoot for finding those drop dead, beautiful recipes, but don't overextend yourself, okay? So this year was really wonderful for me because I already had this lentil loaf recipe in my repertoire. That was a normal, regular thing that we would make on special Sunday dinners and whatnot. So I didn't have to learn a new recipe for that. So I invite you to just think about it kind of as a continuum, that wherever you're at in your journey, just see if you can add 1 or 2 more beautiful plant-based recipes to your repertoire to bring to these events that you're going to, but to not overwhelm yourself. All right, as you bring this delicious food, bring plenty to share, okay? Not with expectations that you're pushing it on people, but that it's so abundant and that you're just, yeah, here, have some. Oh, you'll love it. Yeah, it's delicious. When we can show up in that way, that it's positive, it's inviting, and we're not pushing anything on anybody, it can be a good sort of advocacy for this way of eating, right? So just bringing that beautiful food and having plenty to share is really powerful. Okay, so this kind of goes back to just being amicable when you're around other people that maybe don't eat your way, but this comes up a lot for my coaching clients. So I want to share with you actually a script that I have worked on with other clients, and it has really, really helped them. And you can see this is on, let's see, this is on page 4 of your worksheet, okay? This is your Keep the Peace script. All right, so like I said, I've had my clients use this, and like the light bulb went on when we talked about putting it in these terms. So first of all, let's say you're at a Christmas party and somebody notices that you just have a big giant salad on your plate and you ate before you came because you knew there wasn't really going to be many options for you. But you're just enjoying your time, and so they ask you, hey, Danielle, why is it that you don't, like, I've heard that you don't eat certain things. Like, tell me more about that. First of all, rule of thumb, try not to have this conversation at the dinner table, okay? If you can move this to a different place, that would be ideal. But even if you have to kind of have a conversation right here, what I'm about to share with you can work really effectively, okay? So number 1, take ownership of it. And just like the name of the game here is to keep it about you and not generalize your food choices, okay? Because people feel threatened and they feel judged when we send it out. So I like to say something like, yeah, I eat kind of weird, or yeah, I eat really different, or yeah, I'm trying this new thing. But if we can kind of keep it about us and keep it kind of lighthearted, that seems to go a really long way, and it keeps the conversation going. Okay, so what I have here is I want you to think about being kind, but also be clear. So this is an opportunity to say, so basically I don't eat meat, dairy, and eggs, and I really stay away from processed foods. So mostly I eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts and seeds, that sort of thing. So you can be clear. You can take that opportunity to share with them, yeah, this is what I eat. And when you put it in terms like that, it's like, oh, she just eats food. It's just food. No big deal. Okay, so they might ask you like, why? Like, so why are you doing that? Like, that seems pretty extreme, or wow, that seems really hard, or whoa, that seems cool. Like, why did you decide to start eating that way? Okay, so this is the key right here. Share your why, but choose the why that is most immediate, okay? Again, if your why is that you don't want to die of heart disease, can you see how if you say that, they will then think, oh, they'll look down at their plate and say, oh, am I giving myself heart disease? Even though we know that is somewhat true, we don't need to go there, okay? Because we want to keep this open and kind. So I have found the most effective thing to do is to share your immediate why. If you've been eating plant-based for a while, chances are, if you were not to eat plant-based, if you were to have that cheesecake, or if you were to eat that ham or turkey, you would be ill. Your body's not used to that anymore. You would feel sick. So you can say things like, oh yeah, well, I started eating this way a while ago for lots of reasons, but I keep doing it just because I feel so good when I eat this way. And when I kind of go back to my old ways, like it makes me sick to it hurts my stomach, it hurts me. People can't really argue with that, right? And if they care about you, they're actually going to support you and be like, oh, of course, yeah, that makes sense. And they'll probably watch out for you in the future of like, oh, hey, I heard this thing over here doesn't have dairy in it, Danielle. I've had friends do that for me all the time. Okay, so do you see how we keep it about us and we keep it those immediate consequences as much as possible because they can't argue with that. Okay, and then, just one other little thing I had here to add, keep it about you, stay away from generalizing and judgment. So you could say something like, yeah, I know, I used to love that food or that dessert or whatever, but I just feel better now, so it's really worth it to me. And I found other ways to really enjoy chocolate in a healthier way, or I've found replacements for that I really love. Keep it about you, don't generalize it, and it can be really powerful. So if you have your worksheet handy, jot down what's the first thing that comes to mind for you for your immediate why of kind of what the consequence is for you, usually when you go off whole food plant-based nutrition, that you could share with someone and they really can't disagree with you, they can't argue with you. So that's a really great peacekeeping script that you can try. And it's okay to be kind, it's okay to be clear. And as long as we're in that space, then we're gonna create a really good atmosphere, not only for the holidays, but this is something that you can use for the rest of your life as you interact with people that want to know more about why you eat differently. Okay, this one is really something that I am borrowing from a dear friend of mine, Jane Birch. We had a fantastic conversation and discussion at her potluck here in Provo, Utah last month as we were getting ready for Thanksgiving. We were talking about the holidays, right? And she really shared a beautiful thought that I thought was just a perfect one to end on today. And it goes right hand in hand with something that I've always felt really strongly about, that we don't have to choose between indulging ourselves and depriving ourselves during the holidays. And I just love the way that she kind of packaged this. She said, instead of that, what if we found this quiet joy that's in the middle, right? That we're still like choosing wisely and intentionally, and we are staying resolved to have fun and be festive and get full on good food, but that we have this internal purpose and this centeredness about it, that we are making this choice for ourselves. And we don't have to feel left out, and we don't have to feel holier than thou either. So I love this idea, this quiet joy that we can kind of be inside of ourselves with the choices that we're making through the holidays. It's really a mindfulness practice. It's a gratitude practice. And I think it's totally appropriate to wrap that into how you choose what to put in your body this Christmas season. Okay? All right. So really, I think we can redefine the holidays. And I hope you agree with me that really, if we just take charge of the sweets, if we celebrate with more of the togetherness and the activities and the experiences more than the food, we can own our own choices. You know what? If you want to have a bite of your favorite holiday treat, go for it. Like, that's your choice. But we can own that. And if we want to say no to everything, then we can own that too. It's totally up to us of how we're going to move through the holiday. And then I love this idea of really creating new traditions. And I see myself as a healthy holiday pioneer, and I invite you to join me in that. And you know, especially those of us that are mothers and grandmothers, we create the holidays. We really do. And so we can start making little tweaks, little shifts, and still enjoy a happy holiday with our families, but also starting to improve and upgrade to a healthier way. So I want to make sure that we take a look at your plan for the holiday. So at the beginning of your worksheet, there's a few prompts here, and I want to go over those with you right now. So if you didn't get a chance yet, or if you did, and if you'd like to share some of these things in the chat, I'd love to hear from you guys. I will probably stay on for a little bit after we hit stop on our recording, and we can chat about this a little bit as well. But really, the first thing that I would love for you to ask yourself is, what is your biggest challenge? And maybe there's more than one. I wouldn't write down more than 3. Write down what your challenges are as you are moving into the holidays. And then I love this one of kind of painting the picture of, what do you want the holidays to look like for you? And of course, keep it realistic, right? We mentioned that sometimes we're in situations that we don't have control over everyone or everything. So realistically, what do you want to have your experience be for the holidays? And then number 3, what will you do this year that will help you take a step in that direction? Okay, so it could be one or many of these 10 tips that I've shared with you. It could be some other ideas that have sparked in your mind as we've been talking today, but jot down at least 2 or 3 things that you want to implement this year that could maybe just make an improvement on how things went last year. Okay, and notice that I say something that will take you in that direction. I'm not saying, okay, what are all the things that you have to do in order to make yourself have a perfect whole food, plant-based, no giving in sort of holiday. That's not what we're shooting for. We're just looking for kind of the next step wherever you are in your situation. Okay, so I invite you to take some time today with this. And I do want to invite you, if you are one that would love to kind of spend some time really thinking about this and maybe brainstorming with someone, I would love to hop on the phone with you. Today, I would love to invite you to hop on the phone with me for a free 45-minute consult. I usually don't offer consults that are that long, but I think that this topic really merits some attention. And I always love supporting people in figuring out, like, okay, what is it that they need to be able to be successful this holiday season? So you can send a text with your name and your email to this phone number, and I can set up a time for us to chat about this. And if you're wondering kind of what I do as a coach and how I might be able to support you now or in the future, I'd love to just share that with you briefly. So really, as a health coach, I provide guidance, support, and accountability for you as you step into a healthier lifestyle. Okay? In any one of these 3 ways that I work with people, I'm always looking to help people create an actionable goal that will take them to the next step in their healthy lifestyle. And we also try to keep an eye on the big picture, okay? So I really have 3 ways that you can work with me. One is the one-on-one coaching, which is a really great way to get really personal help and really dive into things. If you have big goals, or if you have really tried and failed this before on your own, one-on-one is a really great way to go. One of my favorite things to do is this 6-week group coaching. It's really a 6-week intensive that I do, and we do weekly coaching calls, and it's really great jumpstart to kind of week after week be having something that you are working on that's kind of pushing you into that healthier lifestyle that you want. And then if you're looking for something that's a little lighter but nice consistent support, excuse me, the monthly membership that I have is really powerful. So you can see there's really something for everyone based on like how much support you need and also what your budget is. And all of the details on these programs are listed on my website, danielledinkelman.com. So you can check those out there. Just so you're aware, the monthly membership is pretty new, and I am looking for the first 12 founding members of that membership. And so it's normally $49 a month, and it's month to month. It's no long-term commitment. You can be in or out however long you want to be. But I'm actually offering it for $29 a month for the first 12 people that join. So that entails one monthly group coaching call, and we're actually having our group coaching call this coming Friday. So now is a really great time to jump in there if you'd like to kind of get a kickstart to your holiday season and join us for that group coaching call on Friday. Again, so you can reach out to me and let me know if that is something that you would like to learn more about. I have a special coupon code for anyone that would like to get that for $29 a month. Anyway, so I hope that makes sense. I would love to chat with you more. If this is something that you are really needing more support, more guidance, and more accountability, you want to follow through on this, and you want to make it stick, and you want to make it sustainable, this is what I love to do, and I would love to support you. So all in all, I really just hope that you have a happy holiday, okay? So even if it's not the perfect healthy holiday, let's make it a happy one. Let's make it a positive one. And do the best you can, right? Take a step better than what you did last year, or, you know, one step better than you did yesterday. It's all about taking those steps. So I do hope that you have that experience, and I hope to talk with you soon. Thank you so much for joining me today.